I was looking to fall in love, and I had a list of qualities I wanted to find in a man. He had to be smart, funny, sexy, kind, a good dancer. I was 26 years old, and I was getting the message from my mom that I needed to settle on someone soon, or my chances of getting married were going to drop off precipitously. So I figured the fall of 1987 was the right time to find someone, because I was moving from Pipestone, Minnesota, where the pool of eligible bachelors was about 1, to Boulder, where I figured there'd be more men than I could reasonably expect to meet. I started a PhD program in the history department. And one day I was in the history offices. My friend Gretchen was there putting flyers in all the mailboxes. And it was a flyer for a graduate student mixer. It was designed to bring together graduate students from different departments who wouldn't ordinarily meet. I looked over her shoulder at this flyer, and I had the sudden sensation of falling into the paper. My vision tunneled. I grabbed the edge of the counter. I really thought I was going to pass out. But with that sensation, I had the thought, if I go to that mixer, I'll meet my soulmate. And it was the late 1980s, so only a soulmate would do. So, of course, I went to the mixer. And I was looking around the room, very picky. This one too tall, that one too short. Finally, I see somebody who looks like a likely candidate. And since I was 26 and still unmarried, I went over and introduced myself. His name was Bill. He was a graduate student in the APAS department, Astrophysical, Planetary, and Atmospheric Sciences. So clearly he was smart. He was funny and sexy and kind, and we talked at the mixer and then talked a while longer as he walked me to my car. And pretty soon we were seeing a lot of each other. We got along really well. And he had this group of friends from the APAS department that in the summer they would get together once a week and go up to Walker Ranch and have a picnic. So by that following summer, I was enough a part of the group that I started going as well. Now, Bill also loved to sing. So one day he was in the APAS hallway, and he saw this guy wearing a Princeton choir t-shirt and invited him to the next picnic. Well, the new guy's name was Kevin, and he fit into the group pretty well. But he had this long-term girlfriend and didn't become a regular attendee, at least not right away. Now that fall, Bill and I had been together almost a year. We moved in together. My intuition had clearly been spot on. And it was perfect until the following spring when life changed and he decided to move back to California. But I was still in the graduate program. There was no way I was going to go to California. So that fall, when he left, Kevin's longtime girlfriend also moved away. And when we saw each other, we would commiserate about these long-distance relationships. And we went out on a few not dates. But our Walker Ranch friends figured out something was up long before we did. That winter, Kevin's girlfriend broke up with him, and pretty soon I ended things with Bill. And then later that spring, Kevin and I sat down to a homemade dinner, homemade chicken soup and homemade bread, and had that conversation about maybe we ought to see how we do as a couple. Now, I, of course, was always looking for signs. And in that fraught time when I was torn between the long-distance relationship and this new friendship, one of the things I did between classes was to read the personals in the campus paper. And one day, as I was thinking about Kevin and the fact that I was now 28 and still unmarried, tick-tock, tick-tock, I saw a personal that said, "You'll both be glad you married into the Klan." I clipped it and put it on my fridge. And that night we decided to see how we did as a couple. Well, it turned out Kevin had a lot of things on that list, although he wasn't a dancer. But he also had some qualities that I hadn't been smart enough to think about. Like, we agreed on some fundamental things. like how we feel about composting. And I told you it's a Boulder story. And the right way to pack a Subaru for a road trip. We've been married for 26 years. And that group of friends still gets together, going on 30 years now, once a week in the summer. We are both glad we married into the clan, including the occasional reunion with Bill and his beautiful wife and beautiful children. And I often think about that moment in the history department and the exact phrasing of that intuitive thought. Not that I would meet my soulmate at the mixer, but that if I went to that mixer, I would meet my soulmate. I've never, other than that time, had that sensation of falling when I had an intuition like that. Maybe because that was the most important decision I could ever make in my life. But you can bet, if it ever happens again, I'll get the message loud and clear. Thank you.